Y'all, this season 4 of Outlander has been a slow start for me, but I'm happy to report that it feels like the show has finally found its rhythm. I understand what the show was doing the first 2 weeks, and setting the stage does take time. I also appreciate that they didn't just skip the time at River Run. However, there are no complaints from me because it feels like the show is back to its regular storyline and pacing. They start this episode by bringing back Roger and Brianna in the 1960s. Roger loves her deeply and heads to the States to take her to a Scottish festival in North Carolina. She seems to love him as well, and it makes your heart so glad for them. Warm and fuzzies are what we need. Back in the 1700s, Claire and Jamie are leaving River Run, much to Aunt Jocasta's dismay. Jamie breaks the news gently, and she seems to have no ill feelings toward her beloved nephew, even sending him on his way with money, a wagon, and supplies. But while she doesn't blame her nephew, she does blame her niece-in-law, Claire. You know, this is very relatable with the holidays approaching. Oh, you get together with family and you love them dearly, but then you realize you don't have anything in common and you're happy to part ways. Once a year is good. Or, in Jamie's case, once every 40 years. Ian absolutely will not go back to Scotland even though Jamie wants him to. And when Jamie is finally convinced, he tells Ian to let his mom know. But Ian says, I'm going to send the note myself. He's really asserting himself as a real man, which is great. Most parents don't want their kids to move back home anyway. They add a member to their traveling crew, Mr. Myers. He has a familiarity with the land and the Cherokee Indians. Ian thinks this guy is amazing, and eventually the two split off from Jamie and Claire, taking the wagon to make a delivery, and Jamie and Claire take off on the horses. Again, everybody seems happy. Back in the 60s, Bree is ready to take her relationship with Roger to the next level. At least that's my guess. She throws her shirt at him and wants to get it on. But Roger's not so sure. He wants everything to be perfect, so he puts his shirt back on her. She's not happy. In fact, she's probably a little humiliated and is annoyed. He has a gift for her, and he wants her to marry him. Did he forget that she's still in school? And did Jamie somehow speak to him in a dream? It seems like he's saying something that Jamie would say. She says no, and then they get into a huge fight because he doesn't want to sleep with her unless they're engaged. And she thinks he's a hypocrite because he has slept with other women. Then they discuss her virginity, and the whole thing ends with a slap. Roger is feeling pain in his face, and so does Claire. A storm comes along, and Claire decides to go find the mule while Jamie fixes the shoe on his horse. You two should never split up, even if you feel like it's going to be just a few harmless minutes. It's never harmless. She gets lost, her horse spooks after lightning catches a tree on fire, and then she falls off her horse flat on her face. When she wakes up, she's alone and finds a skull and a gemstone near her. And then she sees the ghost of a Native American coming right toward her. He has a bloody mark on his head, and it is freaky. And it's clearly the same skull that she's found. But this guy's come back. I was alone at night while I watched this part. And yes, I was sufficiently scared. But I should not have been. Jamie eventually finds Claire because her shoes are by the river. She did not remember doing that, but as she examines the skull further, she realizes that it has metal fillings, which can only mean one thing. People have been time traveling from the United States of America. They are both grateful that however the spirit found her, it took her back to her one true love. Things do not end well for Roger and Bree. They go to an event together again, and it's clear that nothing has changed, and he is over it, but he still deeply loves her. It's not the way we want it to end. I would say it's definitely a real break, unlike the one that Ross and Rachel went through. Claire and Jamie end up on a beautiful mountain in North Carolina, which Jamie calls Fraser's Ridge. The two appear to be at home. This episode was so nice. I liked the whole thing. There was just enough action and just enough love.